Hi, I'm Cynthia Copeland, a helpful member of the Mound City Bar Association, and I'm here to talk to you about grand juries. A grand jury is a panel of citizens that is brought together by the court to listen to evidence and witnesses and decide whether or not to indict or proceed with prosecution against someone who is suspected of criminal activity. A grand jury is usually made up of 12 members. However, there can also be alternates in case of emergency. The grand jurors are selected from a master jury list that is composed of registered voters, driver's license holders, and personal property tax lists. In order to be on a grand jury, a person must be over 21 years old, a resident of the city or county where the grand jury is seated, and can also not be a convicted felon unless their civil rights have been restored. A grand jury can listen to cases in a variety of ways. One way is if a prosecutor has decided to charge someone with a felony. The grand jury will then review the witnesses and evidence and decide whether or not the charges are proper. They can add or take away charges, and they can also change the charges. In addition, a grand jury can also conduct independent investigations where no one has been charged, and the grand jury will listen to the witnesses and evidence and decide whether or not someone should be charged with a crime. Prosecutors can be present in the grand jury to present evidence or to question witnesses. However, no lawyers present arguments to the grand jury. An indictment can either be what's called true billed, which means the indictment will go forward and a person will be charged, or it can be what's called not true billed, which means the person will not be charged. The indictment will not be made public until the person under investigation has been arrested if the indictment is true billed and charges are going forward. Grand jurors cannot be compelled to disclose their individual votes unless they are mandated by a court to do so. Disclosure of the vote or indictment before the appropriate time is considered a Class A misdemeanor, which is punishable by 1 day up to 1 year in the city or county jail. Unlike a trial, grand jury proceedings are not open to the public, and the grand jury does not vote on whether or not an individual is guilty or not guilty of a crime. The grand jury's only job is to decide whether or not an individual should be charged with a crime.
Brought to you by your Mound City Bar Association.